Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Beavis and Butthead Do America is a movie that came out back in 1996 based on the MTV cartoon, a cartoon that I never watched as a kid. For a lot of my childhood, I didn't have MTV. And then, it was like forbidden. It was kind of one of those things I wasn't allowed to watch, but not really have access to anyway. But I loved the movie when it came out. Absolutely. I was at the age of these characters. Beavis and Butthead, they play characters who are 15 years old, high school kids. And when this movie came out, was probably around that age, 15, 16, when I first watched this movie. I remember specifically renting this movie on a 4th of July to watch, and enjoyed it. The show itself, I know there was a lot of like music videos that were like intercut within the cartoon. Obviously it was on MTV, so music videos was kind of the thing. At least it was during that version of MTV in the 90s. Obviously this movie doesn't have those music videos, but a cartoon that was also, one of the targets, one of the excuses, the scapegoats that conservatives would use as being a thing responsible for anything bad that was happening in the world. I think a kid burned down his house accidentally once because he was playing with fire, and he was just reenacting a scene from the Beavis and Butthead cartoon. That's kind of my experience with it other than the movie. The movie itself I loved. The reason why I'm talking about it in this episode is because there is a new movie, Beavis and Butthead movie, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, which I will be talking about next week. So as a lead up to that, I wanted to rewatch Beavis and Butthead Do America, which is a cartoon that I enjoyed, and a movie that I enjoyed. And a nice little, it's a short movie, under 90 minutes. It's 81 minutes, which is short. 90 minutes is pretty short for a movie. 80 minutes, nice, tight movie. It's a great movie about these two degenerate teenage incels. Constantly, they're living in their own little universe, constantly stumbling through life. And in this movie, they are stumbling through America, accidentally, inadvertently causing damage everywhere they go. They're mixed in with a arms dealer / terrorist plot. They're mixed in with an inept government agency, the FBI, trying to track them down. This movie, in a lot of ways, has very Burn After Reading vibes, at least from like the FBI's perspective in this movie, which Burn After Reading I love, a Coen brother movie about how just a very similar type of thing. In a lot of ways. Now that I've watched this, and I had watched that, maybe I'll rewatch that movie here coming up. But very similar vibes in a lot of ways. But yeah, just a kind of a fun movie where these two kids who are obsessed with TV, addicted to TV, as kids are. Well, kids nowadays, that would be video games maybe, or like YouTube. YouTube is probably the analog or the comparison of current kids and what they're obsessed with. But one day their TV gets stolen, and they're on a mission to find another TV. And on this mission to fulfill their addiction to TV, they inadvertently go on a journey, go on a mission across America, in some ways trying to fulfill the wishes of different people, but they're singularly attracted to just trying to find a TV, maybe getting laid, eating candies, getting hopped up on stuff. Very simple, very stupid people. Like this movie has different layers of stupidity. You have the ignorant stupidity of Beavis and Butthead, which is kind of adorable in some ways because they are kids. It is more innocent. The real life version of Beavis and Butthead are probably the most annoying humans that I've ever experienced. But put into a cartoon form is a lot more enjoyable. Then you have like just the stupidity of the adults, specifically like the FBI, their ineptitude to do their job and to really like overanalyze, like just it's a nice little contrast of different versions of stupid, which is a common thing in comedies, to just have your character be stupid in the name of comedy. But without that kind of contrast in some way, without some characters being smart, which I guess there's a few smart characters, kind of. But everybody in some ways gets sucked into the vortex of stupidity, this vortex, this black hole of stupidity that just is the Beavis and Butthead duo. And as everything kind of collapses on itself while it's being sucked into the Beavis and Butthead vortex of stupidity, it is funny. It's funny how lives are being destroyed around them, how like things like national monuments are being destroyed around them.
And now a quick word from our sponsor. Now you can wear The Many Faces, original art by Ray Taylor. Select pieces from the ongoing series of abstract ink paintings. All products made with high-quality materials, made right here in the USA. Go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch to browse the entire collection and save yourself an extra 10% when you check out by using coupon code RTSTMF. So once again, go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch and save 10% when you use coupon code RTSTMF. And now, back to our show.
And it's great because this was like pre-South Park. I think South Park came out a little bit after that. I think late 90s is when South Park started, I believe. I could be wrong. But the Beavis and Butthead were kind of... And South Park isn't necessarily as stupid as Beavis and Butthead. Beavis and Butthead are dumb. Obviously, the spin-off of Beavis and Butthead is King of the Hill. I don't think Beavis and Butthead ever show up in King of the Hill. It's not a show that I ever watched. Another Mike Judge show. But I might be doing a Mike Judge top 5. He's written a bunch of fun things like Idiocracy. So I might do that since I'm watching these Mike Judge films. Which I don't know if he directs all of the things. He's more of a writer. So we'll see how that breaks down when I do it. But this movie, it's fun. You have some good casting, good voice casting. You got, obviously, Mike Judge playing Beavis's voice. You have Bruce Willis playing one of the arms dealers. Demi Moore playing the other arms dealer, where they're in a relationship that is, they're kind of against each other, and in an effort for Muddy to get back at his wife, he thinks he's hiring these two guys to kill her, but accidentally is setting Beavis and Butthead off on a trip to Vegas to go do it. You have what are some of the other voices here? David Letterman is one of the voices. Who's the voice of the FBI agent? I probably should have looked this up before. The guy who does the FBI agent is great. He's got a great voice. I don't know. It's not showing up. But some great voices in this movie as well. And, you have the two different characters. You have Butthead, which is definitely not as spastic as Beavis. Beavis, gets angry and gets agitated and gets hopped up on stuff and does his cornholio thing, which is hilarious. And then you have Butthead, who's trying to be the more smooth and suave guy. He's clearly the alpha of the two. He's the kind of the leader of the two guys. and always trying to hit on girls, hit on women, and being unsuccessful, whether it being Demi Moore's character or being Chelsea Clinton. Just any opportunity for him to try and quote-unquote score is kind of his life goal while on this mission to find a TV. There's also great, the soundtrack to this I remember loving. It has a Red Hot Chili Peppers song when they get to Vegas. They're doing a song called Roller Coaster, I believe, which is a song. A lot of the Chili Pepper songs, they did a lot of songs in the 90s for movies, like Coneheads, like this, like Wayne's World. And all the songs were original songs for the movies. So as somebody who was a fan of that band, the soundtracks were nice because you got to hear music that wasn't in their normal albums. Like, you got to hear new music from them, which I really appreciated. There's also a scene where Beavis and Butthead are walking through the desert and are dying of thirst, and Beavis remembers that cactuses hold water. And the cactus that he bites into happens to be peyote. And there's this amazing animation sequence when they're both tripping on the peyote. I really like how they're kind of stumbling onto different things. Like they get on a tour bus that's supposed to be taking them to Washington, D.C., and they end up at these different like national monuments like Hoover Dam, Grand Canyon, Old Faithful. And everywhere they go, they just cause destruction. Like, not on purpose, just completely accidentally, and that's why the FBI is after them. They think they're these like masterminds trying to divert their attention, and it's just these two idiots just stumbling through America, absolutely causing destruction, which in reality, we see how destructive ignorant people are in this country, especially when they get into politics. But it is kind of an interesting way to illustrate how stupidity just kind of destroys everything it comes in contact with. And they don't even have to be doing it intentionally. Like, unintentional stupidity, or stupidity will unintentionally destroy everything around it. Just sucks everything into the vortex of idiotic destruction. And everywhere they go. Even when they accidentally stumble onto a bus of nuns, right? They end up, the bus of old people ditches them because they realize that they're nothing but trouble. And they end up accidentally getting onto this other tour bus that's got a bunch of nuns on them. And they go into a church and cause havoc. This movie also posits that God is real because after they leave the church, they are struck by lightning. You know, God wasn't very happy that they went in and messed with his church. But even the nuns ditch him. It's also funny how every like tourist spot, like national tourist spot, there is a posting of most wanted people. So everywhere they go, they're like, people discover it's like, oh, it's them, which I thought was funny as well. And while through the desert, they run into their parents, their dads, which obviously they don't know their dads, being white trash kids, and their dads are exactly like them. Beavis's dad, in a lot of ways, looks like Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't think he voiced his dad. I think it's just, you know, the people that voiced them just pitched up or pitched down. But that's a funny thing. They're both roadies for Motley Crue, and they went to this town where Beavis and Butthead are from, and they ended up, you know, getting laid. And, of course, Beavis and Butthead were like, give us their names. We want to get laid, too. Which is funny because unknowingly they want to get laid by their own moms. They just don't know it. But it's fun, especially, I'm sure, as somebody, like, I'm not a big Beavis and Butthead fan, but I can imagine somebody who watched the show, grew up with the show, that them coming across their dads would have been a big moment for the overall Beavis and Butthead world. It's like, oh, they actually found their dads.
Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today.
Of course, this is the time where Clinton was president, so when they get to Washington, D.C., and they somehow get into the White House, Butthead comes across Chelsea Clinton and tries to hit on her. She throws him out of the window, which is funny. They also come across their neighbor, who becomes Hank Hill in King of the Hill, where they're always whacking off in his trailer or whacking off in his shed. And it's actually great that Butthead or Beavis whacking off in Hank Hill's trailer saved the world. Well, not saved the world. Saved Beavis and Butthead. Because he went to whack off in the trailer, he's in Washington, D.C., he has the photo of the Demi Moore character in his pocket, and he sees the trailer, and he sees the photo, and he sees the trailer, he's like, yeah, I'm going to go whack off in the trailer, which causes him to take his pants off, which is where the device is hidden. Because he whacks off in the trailer, not only does that allow Beavis and Butthead to no longer be charged with any crimes, but they are then considered to be heroes. So like these people that went through America, stumbling through America, destroying everything, in the end of it, unknowingly become heroes. It is kind of an epic little journey for them. And of course, at the very end, it's all been for TV. It's all been for them trying to find a TV. Right? They took the hit job because they're like, oh, well, we'll be able to buy a TV if we go do this dude's wife. All kinds of miscommunication, misunderstanding, which allows them to continuously stumble through life. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun watching it. Just a lot of fun watching. Like, you can have, like, inappropriate, like, childish humor when it's coming from inappropriate children in an animated show. Like, you can get away with so much more. Like, there's people that try and do this, like, raunchy comedy thing with, like, live action. Like, you couldn't do a live you might, I mean, Dumb and Dumber kind of, I mean, they were pretty old, but Dumb and Dumber is kind of a similar situation in a way. The structure of that movie, where it's these two idiots just kind of stumbling through this situation, and while other people are after them, thinking that they're like masterminds. So a lot of similarities, I would say, between this and Dumb and Dumber. But even Dumb and Dumber isn't at the level of Beavis and Butthead. Like, there is a level of raunchy humor that you can get away with, and just immature humor that you can get away with when you have two 15-year-old cartoon characters doing these things. Just being the dumbest of people. Who act like dumb stoners, but you never see them smoke weed. I don't know if that's part of their characters or whatever, but they feel like dumb stoner type. Similarly to, like, Dumb and Dumber, where you never see them smoking weed, but it has that kind of, it's what stereotypical potheads in movies are. They're always like dumb and just stumble through life, which is, I don't like that. But so it's actually kind of nice that they're not implicitly labeled as stoners, even though it wouldn't be surprising if the subtext is that they are stoners. Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it. I'm excited to see the new movie, how they do the universe, how they stumble through that, see how the humor holds up. I mean, that came out, I think, this year, so it's been, what, like almost 30 years. Almost 30 years since In Between movies. That is a huge jump from the first movie to the second movie. I don't know if there has been a movie where the sequel has come out almost 30 years later. That is a huge jump. So we'll see how the humor's changed. I know the Beavis and Butthead show has returned. I don't know how well that has gone. But I'm excited to see how Beavis and Butthead do the universe next week. But I would highly recommend, if you haven't watched it, it is a fun, tight, fast, 80-minute comedy. Beavis and Butthead do America. I am Cornholio.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.